I've been an actor all my life. In fact, I have no real conscious memory of ever not being an actor. I couldn't identify as such when I was a child till I started going to the movies, where gradually over the years it began to dawn on me, oh, I'm like one of those people up on the screen. And it was an extraordinary revelation, and it was a turning point in my life, even at this young age that I was. And I knew, even then, this knowingness that I had come to accept was very important. And I knew that if I didn't follow this mystery that possessed me, and which really gave me a possession of myself, if I did not follow it, I would never be a happy person. And so, in a way, my career was a foregone conclusion. But while acting is what I do for a living, activism is what I do to stay alive. The more the world changes, the more it remains the same, I believe, because the most important needs of every single human being on earth are not only food, clothing, and shelter, but equally the need for justice, healing, and compassion. Without the latter, the former are useless. It is the gross inequality of food, clothing, and shelter that divides us, of course, but it is the absolute necessity for justice, healing, and compassion that unites us. Clearly, we need a far better understanding of who we are and why we're here. By your commitment to attend the University of Santa Clara, you are demonstrating quite clearly that you are not typical or average young people who generally see things as they are and ask why. You are dreaming things that never were and saying, why not? All things being equal, I don't really believe that anyone can tell us any fundamental truth that we don't already know instinctively. The challenge lies in accepting the responsibility for that knowingness. So whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, we are all responsible for the world and each other. The world exactly as it is. Either consciously or unconsciously, it exists in that form because we have chosen to do so. And while we do not make any of the rules that govern the universe, we do make all the rules that govern our own hearts and minds, and we are all beneficiaries of the countless heroic strangers who have gone before us over the centuries from every nation on earth, and who assure us that the world is still a wonderful and safe place despite our fears, and we're not asked to do great things, we're asked to do all things with greater care. Boy, such an ideal as that is rare in a culture of so many compromised values and so much cynicism, a culture that all too often knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. And yet there remains a very real and mysterious yearning deep within every human heart that compels us to reach outside of ourselves and serve others for our own sake. This yearning is a manifestation of our true selves and leads us to the very first small conscious acts of personal heroism, which often brings rejection from the crowd, but satisfaction from the heart. This yearning can be very costly, however. If it were not so, we'd be left to question its value. But this above all, one heart with courage is a majority. Over the entire history of the human race, every truth began as a blasphemy, and no one has ever made a contribution of any real worth without self-sacrifice, personal suffering, and sometimes even death. The Irish tell a story of a man who arrives at the gates of heaven and asks to be let in. St. Peter says, of course, just show us your scars. The man says, I have no scars. St. Peter says, what a pity. Was there nothing worth fighting for? My fondest wish for every single one of us is that we will find something in our lives worth fighting for. Because when we do, we will have found a way to unite the will of the Spirit with the work of the flesh, and the world will have discovered fire for the second time.